never get free. Lamb to the slaughter, what you gon' do when there's blood in the water? The price of your greed is your son and your daughter. What you gon' do when there's blood in the water? Look me in my eyes.
Hello guys, this is Ravenclaw What If. Welcome back to another What If story. Now this would be What If Deku was a Shadow Dragon part 2. Yeah, it's 2. Adding a couple things. Like Bakugo is gonna be Kazuki from now on. So, that won the poll, so right on. We'll go with that. And I don't know the ship yet, totally sure, but I'll let the story progress, and I'll come up with something with one of the characters that I have placed in the story. So there's that, and Izuku, he's able to go to a combined state, like a combined state, a mixture between a dragon and a humanoid form. So, that's his battle mode, I guess you would call it. Where he gets, a lot more dragon features in his human state. As he'll grow, his hands, his arms will look like human hands, but they would be more claw-like. So with his feet. So, he'll have, that, and he'll grow like scales on his face. Stuff like that. To make him more look like, a state between. Yeah, let's do that. And he has a tail when he's in that state. It's like, his scales are like a blackish, purplish color. And when he's when he's using his dragon powers or whatever he does, his green eyes glow purple. A bright, purple color. And sorry. And where we left off, I'm gonna say it was a couple weeks before the first day of school, so he's a late transfer, and the school is kind of nice way to say it, a shithole, it's in a very, not very schoolish area. So the kids, the school, hierarchy is, each grade has their own leader. So, the teachers just totally gave up on, the school. Principal's scared. Teachers are scared for, majority of them are scared, and the ones who are not scared, they just don't care anymore. So they don't, do anything. They just let it, fly and let the school run as it's been going. Because, they just want the paycheck. And lucky Midoriya, but Kazuki is, she runs that, she runs the first years for right now. So, there's that. Kazuki, sorry, I had to think of, yeah, it's Kazuki Koski. So, as we go to, Izuku, getting dressed as his mother, tells him, huh, as Miski's there, as, she's like, I recognize that, uniform. That's where my daughter goes. As Missy's a little confused. Why are you sending them there? if I could send, Misky somewhere else, I would have. But fortunately, with her school record, this is the only school that would take her. She's like, why don't you send him like one of those rich schools that I thought you were going to? And she's like, no, I'm not having, I'm not going to have my son, get soft. Going to this, this is the school we went to, Misky. It'll toughen him up. She's like, you're throwing your son that's been in, high class schools into a den full of, a den full of, hooligans. And according to what I've been hearing, my daughter is, running half the school, running a part of the school. I was like, I need to talk to her about that. But, as she's just, venting. As Izuku, as he's, gathering these things, he's like, but mother is right, Aunt Misky. It would, I might find, some. It will be an experience. As Izuku's, I don't know how his personality I want him to set. I know he was kind of snooty, like snooty, but let's just, I'm gonna make him, laid back and doesn't care. Maybe joked around a little bit. I'm not totally sure on that about yet, but as Izuku's like, don't worry, at Misky. I don't think, I have no issue going to that school. I highly doubt they could, measure up to my level. As he's still dragging at heart, so he's gonna be quite proudful. As she's like, yeah, she remembers, how her mother is. And she's like, you're just like your mother. She's like, oh, he better be. Because how he, as she quotation marks herself, I imagine the, Midori popped up out of nowhere. As he knows, like, split pause. Bahamid, it's not the same personality set. When he rebirthed himself, he reincarnated himself. It's a different personality, but he does have all his memories and all that stuff. So that's gonna be interesting when he gets to the Rosefield stuff. But let's continue. As they're talking a little bit, as Izuku mentions, and plus, what I hear, as Inko's like, but what I hear that that school just lost a has lost a what's it called a sponsor. As they're like, Misky's like, what are you talking about sponsor? The only thing in school that needs sponsor is that she's like, no. You're not doing what I think you're doing. And she's like, yep, I'm sponsoring the Court Blast tournament. And what happened, my son tends to be going to that such school that will most likely, take in the tournament. And as Izuku, he's getting his things still ready, and it's like, and my son, and she's like, and Izuku's going to win that such tournament, aren't you, Izuku? As Izuku's like, yes, mother, I'll take care of it. Good. And if you happen to win the tournament, that's fine. And plus, my hero agency will get, coverage. She's like, I can't seriously believe that you're literally going to use your, going to use your son for advertisements. For advertisements. For good press. She's like, I'm still running a business after all. And that's, and our old school, has been doing too well in the tournament. What I've been hearing the past couple of years. So they were more than willing to, more than willing to let me do after I, gave a generous, donation to school, of course. As, she knows it wasn't, she bribed the school, basically. So, to have it all set up for her son. She's like, as Izuku's about to get ready and go out the door. As she's like, Miski's like, wait, Izuku, I believe you'll be in my daughter's class, Sorry, sorry. My daughter is in the most likely in the same class with her. Same class with her. Can you deliver this? As it is her lunch. And she's like, what's her name? Koski? Oh, Kasuki? And she's like, alright, sure, Aunt Miski. As, she, and she's like, don't start any fights now. As Miski's, a little more, she babies Izuku a little more than Inko does. And she's like, as Inko yelled out in the background, like, yeah, if if someone starts to, beat them down, don't let them think you're weak. As, Miski's like, that's not a good, that's not a good, sorry. That's not a good thing to teach your son. It's like, Miski, you baby your kid way too much. And she's like, what do you mean? I like to, my parenting's a little different than yours, my old sister. And she's like, and she talks about how, what happens, with Midoriya. As, she's never told anyone about his, transformation that she thinks is part of his quirk, but it's not. It's just, he's a dragon. So, so she's like, seriously? Yeah, he's got a bit bigger. So I kind of had to forbid, transformations in the house. And she's like, how big does he get? How big is, the dragon form he takes? As he's like, oh, right now it just, it's about it's the size of a medium horse. So, it's pretty big. And it's like, he's able to control his size, but, she doesn't know that. And she's like, it's the size of, a medium-sized horse. And she's like, so, she's, a little frustrated with that. But, that said, give the boy some, motivation. Izuku hasn't really talked about what he wants to do after, high school. I mentioned UA, and he doesn't he hasn't, said anything about that yet. So, they're talking about that as, we cut to Izuku, as, he gets into the school as, it's, it's a junk fest. Lockers are not on the hinges, and, the trophy case is, dusty. They have, like, one trophy from one of the Cork Blast tournaments from a while ago. So, that's just like, oh, why'd I have to come to this shithead place? Oh well, let's get this done, I guess. As Izuku, looks like this, in the picture. That's in the thumbnail, whatever. As he walks in, as he, he sees, a couple kids fighting. As, he sees a blonde just reading, she's reading a book that, it says it's a book. It looks like a book, but what's inside it is like cut out. So she can read her, romance novels. Because, Kasuki, that's in the canon version of the male version of it. So, I'm plopping that in there. Just for plot's sake, I guess. So, she's doing that. As the teacher, looks over after she's talking on the phone. She's like, what do you want? As she, Izuki hands her the paperwork. And it's like, oh, Izuki Midoriya, yeah, you're the transfer student. Welcome to, so school. Glad to have you in the classroom. Go to seat by by Miss Queen over there and shut up and, free period, whatever, I don't care. They don't pay me enough for this. So, as you know, he sits down next to, Kasuki. And she, looks over and she's like, as Izuku, hands her the bag. And she's like, are you, Kasuki? As she's like, yeah, what do you want? New kid. As he hands her, like, she looks at, this is my mother's, this is my mother's cook. Like, this is definitely one of my mother's lunches. How did you get it? As, as he tells her, as she's like, wait, what's your name? As, he says, I'm, as Izuku's like, I'm Izuku Midoriya. And she's like, and she starts laughing. And she's like, huh, guess I'm meeting. Oh, I guess you came and found me. I didn't have to, waste my time trying to find you. And she's like, yeah, nice to meet you, Midoriya. I'm, Kasuki Kasuki. The number one around here. And she's like, I'm gonna explain the rules around here, new kid. And she explains the faction between the schools. And she's like, yeah, I've noticed the schools don't hire a lot of janitors. And she's, laughs a little bit. And she's like, yeah, when the school doesn't give a shit, this kind of happens. But you know what? I don't know what you did to get down here, but you must have did something bad. I know, our mothers talk and everything, but never actually met you. So she's like, Izuku's like, no, I didn't do anything to do wrong. I mean, this is what the school my mom chose. And she's like, seriously, of all the schools you could have chose, your mother, Inko, the hero, as you like, chose for, no, she's a bit of a fan. She looks up to Inko, and she's like, Aunt Inko, she chose of this place? And she's like, your mother's out to get you. And, she's like, because this is the one of the most tough schools in Japan. That's how I'm making it. So, it's going to make a interesting effect into the, Blast Course tournament because they would look down upon their school as, ruffians, thugs, punks, that sort of thing. So, that's how I'm doing this. So as, they go through their class, as, there's a couple fights, as, it's a couple of the upperclassmen trying to start shit. Trying to start conflict, as, Kasuki goes in there, starts nailing the dude pretty hard. As this was like after school, so it's like outside somewhere. As she's taking out a couple of the dudes. As one of them, comes from behind her with a bat. As Izuku, blitz over there. As he has one of his arms is in dragon state. Dragon armor, I guess, his dragon mode. That's his, arms look like a regular, regular arm, but kind of looks, has claws on it. As he grabs the bat, crushes it. As he's like, that's not a way to treat a lady. As he, socks him. As, Katsuki, as they jump backwards, as they're back to back. And she's like, I didn't know you knew how to fight. And she's like, guess knowing, your mother, I should have expected this a little bit. Don't think, Aunt Misky would raise a weakling. And she's like, yeah, mother's big on training, but as Izuku's like, oh, Dodge, you're right. As she dodges as they're coming both at them as they're in sequence, battling them on. And she's like, you fight pretty good. What's your thought, are you joining the tournament? Are you going to join, so do you have plans doing the tournament? I think it's, yeah, let's do this. The tournament is at the end of this, let's make it at the end of the, sorry, it's the last day of middle school. Not the last day, but it's the last year of middle school. It's the tournament, so there's not, they do it once a year in this one, so, let's do it that way. And the high school and the nationals will be somewhere in the middle between high school. So, but the nationals is near the end of, middle school. Okay, let's get that down. As so, you joining, this whole Cork Blast tournament thing? I heard, your mother is sponsoring the tournament again. Yeah, she's like, again, in a few years coming up, as they're battling, they're talking like, yeah, mom wants me to, go in it, and crush it apparently. As they're fighting as they switch opponents. As he's like, I'm planning to join this year, so if you're good enough, if you work hard enough, you might be a decent partner if you train hard enough. As that's what Katsuki says. As Izuku's like, huh, confident are we? She's like, huh, I don't need I don't need confidence. It's just a fact. As she kicks the last dude. As she explodes them. She uses the explosion as they go flying into a wall. All three of them rush her at once as she uses her explosion. And she's like, die. As that that cool collective personality switches when she gets in Bakugo mode, I guess. So yeah, she tends to be kind of crazy when she's fighting, but normally she's not so angry. I mean, she does have her moments, but I'm cooling down Bakugo rage on Kazuki. So as they go off, and it's like as they both get a phone call as to meet at the Midoriya's because they're having a family dinner. As they go separate their separate ways, so they get dressed or whatever. This is going to be not a nice occasion, but a decent one. So we cut to a couple hours as they're going having family dinner with Katsuki's family with Mitsuki. As they greet Mitsuki and her daughter and her husband as like they go into the the living room to eat dinner. And she's like, as Inko's like, I heard a little birdie tell me that you're thinking about applying to a UA after middle school. As not after you're thinking about applying to UA after high school, Kazuki. And she's like, yeah, Aunt Inko. that's the best school there is for hero with my quirk. I'm a shoe-in for that. That's I don't think I have no problem getting in. And she's like, yeah, Misky said you were, a prideful one. As Misky starts, laughing. It's like, if the pridefulness is anything, it's coming, it's your influence, Inko. As because she, get a little embarrassed. And she's like, Mom, stop. As because she's about to blurt, that's, her number one hero that she likes the most. I mean, everyone likes All Might, but, that's her own personal hero that she likes the most. So let's continue. No, let's just say I don't know how high a number she would be in the hero world. Let's say she's like third, just because I can, I guess. So she's like right underneath Endeavor. So Inko's pretty high up there. As Misky, as Missy asks, Izuku, what school are you planning on? Like, what are you planning after college? No, after high school. As he's like, I haven't thought about it. I haven't came up with a decision just yet. As Misky's like, why don't you go for the UA? As Izuku's reading his book. As he's like, Mother, what is your average figure of a normal day in your schedule? As Misky's shocked that he actually said that, and she's like, oh, about that. And she's like, huh, decent. Is that, sorry. Sorry. Is that high? Is that normal rate for a number third hero? As she explains it, yeah, and the lower class ones. How well does, when you were down gaining the rankings, how much money did you usually gather? And she's like, huh, still pays quite extremely well for being low class. I guess I could see the appeal to it. As, as Misky's like, what do you mean? As, Inko knows what's going to happen. Okay, Aunt Misky, I'll explain. As much as, I have no dreams, aspirations of being a hero. That's not how I view things. But realistically, it's better this way. As let's just say I was, let's just say, I was, sorry. It's very unrealistically to follow your dreams without the proper skills. Some people get born with, the right skills for the right jobs, like my mother here and me. We have fire-based quirks, excellent combat. Not so much for rescuing, but there's always around that. Now, as the world has, how the world is function nowadays, money is, necessary for everything. So, if I want to go the easy route, I could, have a 9-to-5 job like the average Joe. But I want something, a little more, pays a little more. So, Mother, I guess, can you get me one of those, can you have one of your people get one of those, applications? I like to, start it early. Just to fill out the forms and everything like that. And she's like, wait, what are you, why, now she's confused. Why so change of mind? Like why, to change of heart? Ezekiel, it's funny. It's simple, Aunt Misky. It's a very high paying job. they pay very well, according to what my mother said, and the information that I'm going to research after this dinner. But, you know, money, of course. As he's like, that's the most realistic way I could go, you know, to justify me going to such a dangerous school. But yeah, let's do that way. As he closes his book, as he's like, as you know, Mitsuki's like, what did you teach your kid? You know, like, oh, my son is, you know, he's thinking at it logically. So, you know, he's not going to he's not going to endanger his life or, you know, if it doesn't pay enough in the future. So, you know, I might have him change his ways, but, you know, that's how he thinks. He's like, and, you know, sorry, and Kazuki's, you know, like, Mom, I'll be, you know, I want to talk to the, you know, the knucklehead over here. As, you know, she's like, as, you know, she sees him outside. And she's like, man, that was kind of brutal. He was kind of rude about it, but, you know, yeah, she knows, just talking to him about, you know, and she's like, never really look up to heroes. I mean, it might be because, you know, my mom is, you know, a pro, but I just don't see the point in worshiping heroes. Might be different perspective. Who knows? But seriously, you just want to, you know, you're just going to join just to get, you know, rich? And she's like, yeah, that's pretty much about it. I mean, logically, it's a paying job. And with my, you know, luck, I was born with a, you know, a quirk, as he's lying, but, you know, it's quite useful and it has a market for it, so, you know, why not? She's like, what about, you know, saving people? As, you know, Izuku's like, I don't know you that well. I don't know you that for that long or that well, but for some reason that coming in your mouth kind of makes me want to laugh a little bit. And she's like, what do you mean by that? He's like, you don't seem the type to, how would I put this, Kazuki? Care. And she's like, I care plenty. As, you know, they're, you know, talking. And she's like, all right, I better get back inside. See, you know, my mom stop yelling at your mom about parenting you, apparently. Apparently, you know, she thinks, you know, she's raising you too. Sorry about that. My mom's a pain sometimes. As, you know, Izuku's like, it's fine. My mom, you know, she's a handful. She's like, yeah, I bet, you know, with you around, the school's not going to be very boring anymore. As, you know, we cut to that. As we're going to, yeah, I think we're going to stop it here. I might upload, you know what, yeah, I'm going to upload another part right after this, so hope you guys have a good night and day. Just my time zones. Alright, bye.